Thanks for clicking. Welcome to another Knowledge Math production. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting decimals. So we're going to work with decimals here. We've already added and subtracted fractions. We've multiplied and divided fractions. Now we're going to do the same thing with decimals. Make sure that you can do it without the use of a calculator. All right, so let's get started. So when you want to add and subtract decimals, what you're going to do, all you really need to do is line up the decimal point of all the numbers. If the number doesn't have a decimal point, you can place one to the right of that whole number, and then you can put zeros in to keep the columns lined up with numbers in every column. So let's say I had the number 7. Well, if I want to make that a decimal, the decimal point would come after the 7, and then I can put in as many zeros as I want. 7.0 is 7. I could add some other zeros if I needed to, in case there were numbers underneath here that were adding to the number that were here. That way I know the zeros being added to that number. All right, so let's get started on it. 11, we're going to add 13.6 and 42.18, or 42 and 1800ths, or 13 and 6/10. So we have 13 and 6/10 and add 42 and 1800ths. So the decimals line up. I'm going to put a 0 there because there's a missing spot. So 0 plus 8 is 8. 6 plus 1 is 7. Bring down the decimal point. 3 plus 2 is 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. My answer is 55.78, or 55 and 7800ths. Let's take 1,347 and add 0.0005, or 5 10,000ths. All right, so my decimal goes after the 7, and then I'm going to put in zeros here. You don't have to, but you can if you want. 0 plus 5 is 0. These 3 are going to be zeros. Bring down the decimal. And then 1347, there's nothing to add to it over here. So it stays 1347. So we have 1,347 and 5 10,000ths. All right. And then finally, subtract 14.69 from 113.06 from. We want to subtract one from the other. When we want to do that, the one we're subtracting this number from this number, so this number goes up top. This number would go first, 113 and 600ths minus 14 and 6900ths. Okay, so here we go. 6 minus 9, I can't do that. So this is really a 10, right? Over here, I'm going to borrow from there. And I'm going to borrow from there and make that a 9. All right, and then we have, and then to do that, I have to borrow from here and make this a 2. Okay, and then we can make this a 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. And then 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down the decimal. And then I have 2 minus 4. I can't do that, so I'm going to have to borrow from this 1, make it a 0. That makes this a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. Oh, that's an 8. And then 0 minus 1, I can't do that. I'm going to have to borrow from that 1, make that 1 a 0, and make that a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 98 and 3700ths is my answer to that final one. All right, here we go. Oh, presentation last saved just now. Oh, the inner workings of a Knowledge Math production. Sorry, folks. It ended up there. It's not supposed to be there. 8.7 plus 5.4. 7 plus 4 is 11. 1 to carry. Bring down the decimal point. 8 and 5 is 13, and 1 makes 14. 14.1. And then we have 74.906. 01. And then 42. So I'm going to put my decimal there. Put 3 zeros there. 1 0 after that. I can put zeros here if I want. Okay, I'm just going to add the columns. 6. That's a 1. That's a 9. Bring down the decimal. 4 plus 2 makes 6. 7 plus 4 makes 11. There's my answer. 8,416, 2800ths, and 1.41 and 489 thousandths. Put in some zeros. Put zeros before the 1 if you want. You don't have to. That's a 9. 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 carries. 4 and 2 is 6, and 1 is 7. Bring down the decimal. 6 and 1 makes 7. 1, 4, 8. There's my answer. Okay, hopefully you got those right. All right. So now Rhonda uses a container with 54.8 or 54 and 8/10 grams of flour to help her bake donuts. After using as much flour as the recipe called for, the container still had 6.9 grams of flour left. How many grams of flour did her recipe call for? All right, so if I wanted to figure this out, I'm going to have to take 54.8 grams of flour and subtract 6.9. That's the remainder, 6 and 9/10. Okay, so I'm going to borrow. I can't do 8 minus 9, so I'll borrow from the 4, make it a 3, make that an 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. Bring down the decimal. 3 minus 6, can't do it. So borrow from the 5, make it a 4, make that a 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 4. So 47 and 9/10 grams were used. There's my answer. And then finally, Melissa purchased $39.46 in groceries at the store. She purchased $39.46. The cashier gave her $1.46 in change from a $50 bill. How much change the cashier should have given Melissa? Oh, well, she gave her the wrong change, right? So this is definitely wrong. I mean, think about it. If you got a $50 bill and you paid $39.46, you got to be expecting at least more than $10 back, right? You didn't even spend $40. Okay, so let's see. So $50 minus $39.46. Okay, this is, let's see, I'm going to make this a 10. Change this over to a 9. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5. I'm going to change this one over to a 9. Bring down the decimal. 9 minus 9 is 0. And then I got to change this to a 4 because I can't subtract. So 4 minus 3 is 1. $10.54. And that makes a heck of a lot more sense, right? If you had you gave $39.46, that was your bill, you should be getting more than $10 back. $10.54 is what you should be getting back. Okay, you could always check 39.46 plus 10.54. It'll give you $50. And that's it. That's how you add and subtract decimals. As always, thanks for clicking.